Section 3 includes the traditional scissor leg takedown. This takedown illustrates the importance of ground techniques.
Pierce right hand. Pierce left hand. Pierce right hand. Jumping front kick. Block and pierce. Turn, back hammer. Step behind with the left leg, striking low. Sweep, scissor takedown. Right leg kick, takedown. And lifting into a horse stance. Grab with the left hand, punch, right. Turn, spinning elbow defense.
Another very common technique is the hand piercing. In other styles of martial arts, a pierce is very common, striking the lower ribs or the stomach area. If somebody grabs you and they're very close, for instance, he grabs and he hooks me, maybe hooks behind the neck, or we get into some wrestling positions where we are forced to get very close. Piercing hands are very useful. You can use piercing hands to get into the armpit, a very delicate part of the body that can help somebody drop their grip. Another thing is piercing up into the neck, into the soft parts of the neck here, or piercing to the lower parts of the body. So these piercing techniques can be done different places, shooting the armpit, stomach, neck, wherever you can. And hopefully by charging, you can break that grip. Bow. The lower pressure point attack is for the intestines. If you poke very intensely down to the lower intestines, it can cause somebody to either use the restroom pee or use the restroom on themselves. So striking the lower part of the body there with power, sometimes even an uppercut, a strong or a knee, can cause somebody to have a bowel movement. So striking there is a very important pressure point that can disable an opponent. Now from this position, it starts with a front kick. So a jumping front kick pushes them, and if he still comes back here, then you shoot that lower attack while protecting your head, shooting that lower attack. Now, depending on how strong your hands are, you can either use this position or two-finger position. It's up to you. Either one works. And striking into that lower abdomen there. The scissor leg takedown is such a beautiful takedown. In Chinese Sanda and Chinese kickboxing, you see it a lot. Great fighters like Kung Lee and even in America have used this technique immensely in their history of sparring and fighting professionally. So the scissor takedown works just like a scissor. You want to have one leg going behind your opponent and the other leg coming behind. Now, when you jump into your opponent, you can use one leg to the chest, to the middle section of the body, while the other one is low towards the legs. And no matter how you want to do it, you're basically scissoring and pushing your opponent down. And by scissoring quickly, if you do it fast enough, you can also render them unconscious. If they hit the ground too hard and hit the back of their head on the ground, you can also render them unconscious. So it's a very effective movement if you practice it. And this form, Ditang Meihua Chen, is called ground boxing because it distinctively uses the scissor technique, which is a very traditional Kung Fu technique. Bao. A very basic technique is a simple grab and punch. Now, even if you're not an experienced martial artist, a simple grab and punch is the most basic. Our most basic forms like Wu Bu Chuan, Lian Huan Chuan, Tong Bi Chuan, all of these basic forms have simple grabs and punches. It's so effective. So for instance, if my opponent grabs my neck, a best way to get him off is to turn and punch. If he grabs me with this hand here, same thing, turn and punch. If he grabs me with two hands, same thing, turn and punch. So that makes this move very, very effective, simply grabbing and punching. Now, what makes this also very nice is if your opponent decides to charge you, you have your spinning elbows that are very effective. And you have multiple ones. So even if I miss the first elbow, say I missed his elbow and he keeps charging at me, he tries to grab my back, you have your second elbow that continues to attack. So these flying elbows here are very, very effective against multiple opponents if they're trying to get very close and grab you. Bow.
Bow. So. So. Up. Bow.
Let's watch a full demonstration of this routine.